Part 3. The Recipe and Framework to Intergrate 2.0. The private social network is creating an exclusive operations communication ecosystem with existing free applications. So how can we communicate internally, but not spend a lot of money and do it with relative ease? Now, if you're a team leader watching this or somebody on staff or interested in what we're talking about here, you may not know what social media is. You're aware of it, but you don't use Twitter. Well, common functions right now of social media are generally listed here. It's a way to communicate with both friends and strangers. You're sharing things like pictures and videos or comments, and you're generally answering the question, what are you doing right now? Or telling a short story. If you really don't have any idea what social media is or Twitter, watch the howcast.com video. It's a pretty good tutorial on what social media is and will bring you up to speed. But still, you're aware of social media, but you don't Twitter. And what if you were showing up at our project and we handed you a smartphone? Well, don't worry. We can teach you. By learning and utilizing these tools, we will better distribute the information management burden. And overall, our effectiveness will rise. Very simply, by adopting and adapting social media, we can empower our team and our approach. So here's the plan. Each team leader on site at a project in the field is provided a smartphone to use while they're there working with us, whether it's a day, a week, a month. And they're provided basic phone and application orientation. So we'll show you how to use the phone that we give you and how to use the applications that we're talking about. If you already own a smartphone and you'd like to use that instead, that's great. We have a way of linking you in too. Each phone will be preloaded with several things. Key phone numbers for staff in emergency situations, a designated Twitter account, a Tweetdeck application, which we'll show you later, and then relevant lists, as well as a Gmail account. So, we'll give the team leader a phone, the Tweetdeck application and Twitter account, and a Gmail account. They'll be registered and activated on the phone already. Here's an aside for experts. For the purposes of this Prezi, we're going to primarily explore the use of Twitter and Tweetdeck. Apps like Yammer, Podio, and Presently, etc., may enhance this private network recipe, but given all hands' prior use of Tweetdeck, it's a natural progression without a price tag, and with fewer steps and restrictions that we see. If at the end you feel that we should integrate other apps, we want to hear about it. We welcome the feedback. So in case you sleep through the orientation or can't quite remember how to do that thing that the guy talked about, we're going to give you a hard physical manual as well, so that you can look things up. It'll have screenshots and be, your first stop in terms of trying to troubleshoot an issue. There are really only a few functions that team leaders will perform throughout the day, and all functions have a purpose. We're increasing our safety, efficiency, and effectiveness in the field. It'll make everyone's lives easier on project. The steps are relatively easy to perform and should become second nature after a few days. All of this contributes to a big picture. So those essential, non-scary functions can be distilled down to their most basic form. We're going to ask team leaders to regularly take a photo and write a text message. Ambitious, maybe a video. Then, using the same smartphone, there'll be a two-way dialogue. You may have to read and write email, view a photo sent to you from someone else, or view a text message sent to you from someone else. In their most basic forms, it's pretty simple. So you may be wondering why we're using Twitter and social media versus simple text messages over a network, a phone service. Well, the social media applications allow us to have mass communication without mass effort. The coordinator can easily send simultaneous messages to multiple recipients at the same time. We'll be able to expand the conversation happening from the coordinator and the team leader into an overall network of members of the team, volunteers, staff members, admin on site. Through the Tweetdeck application, the whole picture of operations in the field at any given moment is viewable on one screen versus just viewable on a team leader's telephone handset and a coordinator's telephone handset. Because there's information and media traveling within this network in real time, multiple people can be involved in troubleshooting, can be involved in the learning process later. It distributes the information and the communications into a much broader network. What about privacy? Aren't tweets in the public domain? Well, Twitter allows a user to protect or lock their tweets. You can also broadcast unprotected tweets, available to the world at large, anyone in the Twitter universe. What we're talking about here is using accounts that will be protected. So tweets that are generated from protected accounts are only able to be viewed by other pre-approved users. It's an intra-network. The use of protected accounts makes our network private, allowing us to share exclusive info candidly and confidently. Now, protected accounts can still access or follow other Twitter accounts they have been granted permission to view. So what do I mean by that? I mean that information can still flow freely in from the rest of the world. Our network is semi-permeable, and it's also interoperable. So instead of having our tweets unprotected, they remain protected, and we consciously choose what we share and when outside of our protected network with other networks. So think of it this way. A team leader in the field tweets a memorable quote from an appreciative disaster survivor they've just helped. They tweet that into our network, and we feel that we should put that out into the public space because it will let people on Twitter and in social media know about the great work that's going on. Here's a diagram of the Twitterverse. So within the Twitterverse exists our project ecosystem. At the top here in the middle, you can see the public tweets coming in. And then there's various rings. We're talking predominantly today about the middle section of this, the coordinator tweets. Now, as the coordinator tweets and is connected in with the team leader and others on site in the field, project directors and core staff and admin, either on site or maybe 3,000 miles away, can still view what's happening in real time day to day. Using social media, we're able to connect different team members in real time. Part 4, the vision and value at ground level.